Hello and welcome to my channel. My name is Crystal and I am the maker and artist behind Tranquil Galaxy Art. And today I just wanted to do something a little special because I am celebrating a really important milestone next month, and I just had been thinking over the past few months that I wanted to get back into uploading videos, but obviously this one's a little different, not like the previous ones that I did many years ago, what, 5 or 6 years ago. Can't believe time has flown since I last uploaded one of my paint pouring videos. But like I said, this is going to be a completely different video, but just a little bit of a backstory first. And I promise this video, I'm hoping that it's short and sweet, but we will see. And then if you hear something strange in the background, you may hear my dog pacing around. We're supposed to be getting some storms here shortly, and so she may be in and out of this room. So if you hear some clicking noises, that would be her. But yeah, so a really important milestone next month. August of 2026 marks 10 years of me being diagnosed with stage 4 breast cancer. I was diagnosed back in 2016 at the age of 39, and after surgeries and treatment, I want to say late summer, early fall-ish of 2017, I decided on a form of therapy, which is art therapy, as you can see. And with the help of a dear friend and several wonderful YouTube artists who provide wonderful tutorials, it's the only way any of this could have happened. So it was really helpful through my journey and since. So I do want to say one of these paintings, let's see here, this one right here is not mine. That's my dear cousin's. She gave that to me a few years ago. But yeah, so a lot has happened during that time, and I wanted to bring another video to you all. But this one, like I said, is going to be completely different because I picked up another form of therapy, and in 2022 I picked up the crochet hook and have been making wonderful things. I love to crochet as well as do my artwork and crafting. So this video strictly is going to be my very first crochet video, but I guess let me know. I do plan to make future crochet videos. I still want to do art videos, maybe some craft videos. Let me know what you're interested in the comments. I'd love to hear from you. But like I said, I'm going to try to make maybe just specific videos instead of mixing them up. That might get a little confusing of having art and crochet in the same video. So for this one, we're just strictly going to talk mainly about crochet, because I plan on doing a video on how I learned to crochet, but that's for another day, because there is somebody that I want to give a shout out to that really helped me. And I also plan on doing some tutorials, because guess what? I am left-handed, and it can be difficult when learning how to crochet, reading patterns, and I have to flip-flop in my brain what is being done. So I think I'm gonna plan for all you other lefties out there some left-handed tutorials, especially some beginners who are wanting to learn how to crochet. I would love to help you. Let me know if you would like to see any of those videos. Okay, let's get going. Again, I don't want to draw this video out. So like I said, 2022, I learned how to crochet, and one of the first patterns that I ever purchased on Etsy was a very well-known pattern maker, and I want to say one of the more popular loaf cat designers is Annie Carraway with Annie Carraway Art. I highly recommend if you're a beginner or even if you're not and you want to find some really cute patterns that are not very difficult. I highly recommend her loaf cat pattern. She also has a flower cat pattern, which is really, really cute. So you do the loaf cat and then you add some detail to make it a flower cat. And then you have, in that same pattern, there is also the bee cat, which is one of my favorites. So again, I'm kind of reflecting back on why I started this video. I wanted to do a little bit of not really a pattern review, of one of her patterns that I purchased back in, I think it was last November, not long after she released it. And I've been sitting on this pattern this whole time and decided finally to make one, and maybe I've made more than one now. But it is her large birdie pattern, and oh my goodness, I am so addicted to that pattern. But before I show you one of the big birdies that I've made, we can't do this without showing you one from her previous patterns, which is the small birdies. So here we have the cockatiel from her small birdie pattern, and this is another very quick, easy make. There's no sew, so I highly recommend this for a beginner. The frill, you do not sew it, you just crochet that onto the top of the head. So this is a lot of fun to make. So of course, because this is one of my favorite small birdie designs, I had to make the big birdie, and here we go. So this is the cockatiel, and I'm going to show you a difference in size here. We've got the little birdie and the big birdie. So we've got the tail and the wings, and there's some fuzzies on there, some fiber fill fuzzies. So going to talk a little bit about the yarn and the pattern. So this pattern, like I said, like all of her others, pretty straightforward. She has lots of pictures, lots of explanations on how to do certain techniques. The only thing that I had problems with, and I know it's probably just me, was the tail. There was just something about once you make it and then connecting it. I had to read it several times before I could figure it out, but again, that's me. So you make the beak first and set that aside, and then you make, I guess you could make the tail next and then set that aside. And then the wings, for the wings, you're going to start with the bottom wing or bottom side of the wing, which is a separate piece. You'll make two of those, set those aside, and then you'll make the top wing, and then instead of fastening off, you connect it to the bottom wing. The other thing is when sewing this part together here, you can, if you want more flippy wings like this, you sew it closer to the body, whereas if you want the wings maybe to be closer together, then you would sew it closer to the edge of the wings. But I like having the flippy wings, so that's why I did that. So when you start with the head, then you add your eyes, And then as you go down, then you crochet the wings in. And then when you get to this part, you add your tail. It's all crocheted in, which is awesome. Stuff it, complete it, and then you, depending on the bird, for the cockatiel, you add on the frill, which is same technique as little baby cockatiel. And then the option, you can put the beak on afterwards, or when you put the eyes. So when you put the eyes in, you can do that. So whatever you prefer. So the yarn is pretty similar to what she had as an option. The only difference is, I think this is Buttercup Bernat. This is all Bernat blanket. This is Buttercup, and I think she put dark gray for the beak, which I have. But I used dark gray for the body, and I think she had light gray. And then this is vintage white. And then a little bit of pink for the blushy cheeks. And then these are hand painted eyes. No, I'm not sure how well you can see those. But so that's something else that I may have a tutorial on. These are actually hand painted using acrylic paint and with some glitter mixed in. I do resin eyes as well, but honestly, I think I prefer the acrylic in regards to making them. I feel like it's quicker. Obviously, the resin eyes are gorgeous, so yeah, I really like doing the acrylic eyes, acrylic paint. One thing I'm not entirely sure about, so maybe I can have some help with deciding. Pricing. So these sell really well at markets. Right now I price these around $15, and I typically sell out when I have quite a few of them there. So these sell really good. So I'm not sure what you all think would be a good price for this chunky bird. So yeah, 15, I don't know, would this be 30, 35? Definitely a lot more going into this one versus this. So yeah, let me know what you think. Next, so of course I couldn't stop with the cockatiel. So I'm going to show you the small version first, and then so the next one I did was the eagle. So we've got our little one. So this is, and again, there's more fuzzies. I need to put, usually before markets, I'll take a lint brush and get all the fuzzies off. But this is also hand painted eyes with acrylic. I think those had, almost looks like some red glitter mixed in some gold paint. This is vintage white, gold, and taupe. So that's the eagle, and now we've got the bigger version. Same thing with this one, vintage white, taupe, gold, and then underneath here, I want to say, just bear with me here. Yes, so I had to check because this is almond, but those of you who know that sometimes you'll buy a skein and it's one shade of a color, and then later on you'll buy another one and it's a little bit different. This is actually a darker version of the almond that I usually get when I get Bernat. Usually it's a lot closer to the vintage white, more of an off-white. So the other thing I want to talk about too is this is some of that stiffer, more coarse yarn, not the vintage white, but the taupe. I mean, this batch was not necessarily the most fun to work with, but I'm trying to use it up to get rid of it. Same with the almond. It wasn't as coarse, but it was not as soft as the vintage white or even the dark gray and the buttercup. But yeah, this is the eagle. Same thing with eyes. These are, I think, acrylic. They're either acrylic or resin, because I did some in the same color at the same time. So next we have the mallard, and this is the little guy here. So I love this little guy. So this is taupe for the body, gold for the feet and the beak, and then vintage white, and this is malachite green, and then I use some worsted yarn to do a little bit of an accent for the eyes. So that is the little bird, and then we've got our big bird duck. So isn't he adorable? I'm just in love with him. Similar colors, except for the wings. So we have malachite green, gold, vintage white, and taupe. But for the tail and the top of the wings, we have baby sand. So it is lighter than the taupe. And the tail is baby sand. And then underneath, we have more of that almond. And then these eyes, again, I'm not sure. I think that's resin. I think those are resin eyes. Again, I'm not entirely sure. Okay, last but not least, I had to do the snowy owl. I do not have the little version yet, so I plan on making that one next. So, isn't he adorable? We've got fuzzy wings, there's some fuzzy around the beak, and then we've got these beautiful blue eyes, if you can see those. So colors and yarn, this is all Bernat again, except for the fuzzy. I want to say the fuzzy furry yarn is Premier, I think. Vintage white, dark gray, and then we have, and I can't remember what this is called, it's one of the tweeds. I don't think it's the speckled, I think it's one of the tweeds. I use these for chickens when I make the chickens. But yeah, that's pretty much it. And then a little bit of pink for the blushy cheeks. And one more thing I wanted to add in, and this is in regards to the wings. So as you can see this furry yarn. I have a difficult time crocheting with yarn like this. So what I did, instead of making the entire wing out of the furry yarn, I instead, and you can probably see it here, used vintage white. So I made both of the underwings vintage white, and then once the wings were attached to the body, I then went in and used my needle and just weaved in furry yarn. And I still think it looks great. So no one would know unless you had the pattern or you've done it before. So, but yeah, so for those of you like me who have difficulties with this yarn, it's so much easier to just sew it in afterwards. With the beak, trying to think here, I did crochet using it, but because it was just a small section of it, I just dealt with it. So let me know which one is your favorite. So we've got, let me see if I can get them all without dropping them. We've got Mr. Eagle, Mr. Mallard, and we've got the cockatiel. I can't hold them all. Oh goodness. But yeah, tell me which one. Oh man, I'm not sure. I'm really liking the snowy owl. He may be my new favorite. So tell me what you think. Have you done this pattern, Annie Carraway's Big Bird pattern? What is your favorite one? Well, like I said, I wanted this to be short and sweet, and yeah, thank you for joining me, and let me know what you think and what you would like to see. I have a lot of other makes from this year that I have been making for markets, and so I plan on showing you some more, but for now we're going to just say farewell until next time. Happy crocheting, happy painting, and again, like and subscribe, and let me know in the comments below if you'd be interested in crochet videos, art videos, and or tutorials of any kind, and I'd love to hear from you. So see you later. Until next time.